When we think of divine guidance, we often think of intuition. Because what is intuition? There is something that we experience time and time, and it's something that defies logic, it defies reasoning, it defies intelligence, even. It's just something that we feel a knowingness that something may happen or that we need to do something. We are divinely guided in those moments, whether we know it's God or not. We just have this sudden moment in which we are more present in our awareness. And through that presence, we're able to connect with that divine presence. And that divine presence is guiding us in that moment. We often think intuition is like a moment of spiritual awakening, when in reality, if you look at the people who are successful, who are prosperous, right, the people who are able to achieve and do a lot in their lives, if you actually look into their character, they rely on intuition a lot. They are inherently connected to their intuition. And this intuition is inbuilt, right? It's part of that inherent character of consciousness. That consciousness, that self effulgence, it knows everything. It's omnipresent and omniscient. It knows whatever needs to happen, again, for your greatest good, for your greatest happiness, and for your greatest growth. It takes care of you, so it knows everything that needs to happen. If there's danger in the path, it's going to tell you to turn a new way, to turn a new leaf, to do something different, to avoid going down that alleyway. You might not know why, you just have a sudden feeling, a prickly feeling, I should not go down that way. I needed to get off this plane. But so many people misunderstand what intuition really is, and they think it has to do with desire. It's because of that confused state of mind. Coming from a lower place in consciousness, we are operated more by our desires and delusions than we are by this pure consciousness, by our inherent divinity. And so, as a result, because of our attachments and fixations and our inability to identify with spirit, and our lack of discipline in following those divine principles and fundamentals, which naturally purge our being. When we follow the divine principles and fundamentals, they bring us clarity, right? It's that discipline that gives that space for this energy to work through us. It brings us greater clarity and mental acuity. It gives us greater comprehension. It gives us a greater ability of discrimination to understand what's good, what's bad, what to do, what not to do. How am I being tricked? How am I tricking myself? More power, more will, more energy to do and achieve whatever you need to do. All of these are inherent to higher states of consciousness. But when we're operating from a lower place in consciousness, our mind controls us, our thoughts. We are slaves to our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own emotions. So we start to think that we're listening to our intuition, we're listening to divine guiding us, when in reality, we are just so passionately attached to whatever we want in our lives from the level of desire, right? That we interpret divine guidance in accordance with our own values and our own desires, that it's no longer intuition, but rather we are just trying to accomplish whatever we want to do. When we're always operating from a place of confusion and desire, the outcome won't be there. The outcome will either lead to more chaos, more delusion, more desire, maybe ADD, ADHD, lack of clarity and direction in life, lack of peace, frustration. There's also this concept of satiety. Happiness, right? The nature of pure consciousness, if it's self-effulgent, it doesn't reach satiety. Meaning, if things are operated on the level of desire and attachment, say you really want a piece of chocolate cake, right? The excitement itself, it's pulling you, it's everything, every part of your being, your own psychology saying, I deserve the chocolate cake. I really want the chocolate cake. Everything is trying to justify the reason why you should have the chocolate cake. You're saying, my intuition says I got to have this chocolate cake because every part of me is on fire for this chocolate cake. I'm getting this rush of energy. This rush must be from God. It's surely not my adrenaline because I'm so passionately involved with this chocolate cake. But what happens when you eat the chocolate cake? Right? It in the moment you're having it, it's very enjoyable. But after a while, the enjoyment starts to deplete. When you're full and you've had a whole slice of chocolate cake or even maybe a whole cake, after a while, you can't continue having that cake and still enjoying it at the same level you were before. The excitement fades. That's how you know that you are operating at the level of your brain and body and not at the level of spirit, because happiness doesn't fade. It doesn't fade with a sense of satiety to it. Excitement does. And when we no longer have this excitement or this purpose or this movement within our being that is moving us and propelling us to the next purpose or the next moment in our lives, right? Then suddenly we reach a state of boredom and complacency. And this complacency is actually even worse than suffering itself. And so, as a result, because of this numbness and complacency we feel in life, we want to start to feel something again. So we move on to the next desire. And we think we're following our happiness. We think we're following our life purpose. We think we're following what God wants us to do. And let's say the desire never came to fruition. We never got the chocolate cake. What's going to happen then? You're going to be miserable. Without that chocolate cake, you're going to be miserable. You're going to suffer. The disappointment alone is suffering. Intuition, whether you get the thing that you desire or not, will never leave you in a state of mind or a state of existence that perpetuates suffering. So even if you don't get the thing that you think you want, the peace is still there, the happiness is still there, because it's not coming from the world. It's not coming from your thoughts or your beliefs or your desires. It's coming from that purity in consciousness, from your innocence.